Welcome back to Seen and Solved. I'm your host, Tim Pennington. Today we're joined by Rob Augello, our high purity pro and trusted expert in all things ultra clean chemistry, especially for the semiconductor industry. He's here to break down what makes high purity chemistry not just critical, but game changing in meeting the exact demands of that industry. So whether you're curious about cutting edge product innovations or how we're helping clients reach new levels of precision, Rob's got the insight.
You're listening to the Seen and Solved podcast, brought to you by Hubbard-Hall. Better results, less chemistry.
Rob, thanks for joining us. Appreciate you talking with us today. How long have you been with Hubbard-Hall, may I ask?
So I've been with Hubbard-Hall. This is actually my second go with Hubbard-Hall. I worked originally in the supply chain department for 5 years, 2013 to 2018. And then I came back in June to help support our customers using high purity chemistries.
You said something I kind of want to clarify. So let's talk about high purity, let's talk about these phrases, high purity, ultra clean. Sounds like you're getting into some very sophisticated processes that do a very detailed purpose. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Sure. Yeah. So these products are we call them like a high purity chemistries. These are chemicals used predominantly for the semiconductor industry to make chips. And so within this vertical, there's a few specialized product families called photoresists, polyimides, but majority of these are your base solvents and acids that are used to clean, to prep, to etch a surface. And so these products, typically they're of extreme purity. So in a normal chemical would start out as, say, a tech grade product. And then there are many grades above that where purity increases. So you'll have products start out as tech, and then it'll go up to USP grade, ACS, reagent grade. And then these products are called semiconductor grade. And so what that means is that as you move up in purity, this additional testing will detect for parts per million, parts per billion, and in some cases, parts per trillion. So this is they're essentially testing for impurities that are smaller than dust. So it's really pure stuff. And these products are packaged in white rooms and clean rooms. They're packaged into everything from a 1 gallon bottle all the way up to, say, a 330 gallon tote.
What are the challenges that some of the end users who use these type of products? What are they facing that you all from Hubbard-Hall can come in and kind of solve it for them?
So these customers face really strict quality requirements. Often you'll see that they have a requirement for a specific manufacturer, maybe a specific packaging type that they need. And sometimes we'll have to create a custom product for them. So we'll work with the manufacturer, say, to develop a solvent that they carry, but that has maybe a low iron requirement that, will only meet this customer specification. So in addition to Hubbard-Hall managing all of those requirements and, developing a supply chain to support them, they also have some operational constraints. These manufacturers intentionally, when they build these facilities, they design them so that they have limited limited chemical storage, so that they maximize the footprint for their production. And so the consequence of this is that these customers have, in some cases, only 2-3 days worth of inventory that they can carry on site. And so that puts quite a bit of reliance on Hubbard-Hall to deliver exactly what they need, exactly when they need it. So that's what we do to support them.
I mean, what are some of the constraints in the supply chain that you all might manage for them? Is it that getting it just in time and making sure that you're not sending too much? I guess those are big issues.
It's a really complex supply chain compared to your typical chemical distribution network. These products are made all over the world, so you have lead times of 8 to 12 weeks, all the way from Belgium to come to the US. So we have to manage all of that. And then some of these products even have very, very strict temperature requirements, meaning the product needs to stay in a specific temperature range. And that could be in a warm room, in a cold room, in a refrigerator, in a dedicated freezer. So we need to manage, again, all of that complexity. That some of these products have temperature sensors that ship from, say, the manufacturer all the way across the world or across the country to our facility. And then we need to store those products correctly and then also ship them on dedicated a transportation that is refrigerated or, can ensure these products stay within that temperature range. Some other points to note, because of that global supply chain, they're impacted by all the normal forces that we hear about in the news, from tariffs to, port strikes, transportation constraints. Our customers rely on us essentially to mitigate for those forces.
What are, I guess, some of the most critical needs for servicing a customer like this? And it sounds like it's a delicate tap dance sometimes to really get them what they want when they need it and get it to that specification that they need, right?
Yeah, as far as what's the most important, I would say, oddly enough, it drills down to the basics of distribution, and what that means is delivering on time accurately. The performance in that realm is paramount. The cost of a shutdown due to not having product in this space with some of these manufacturers is incalculable. For a fab to be shut down for 2 hours can't happen. And so on-time delivery is something that we measure ourselves on, and we communicate to customers. And then also, of course, what they measure us on. So that is we'll say that the most critical component of serviceability.
We mentioned a semiconductor, and it's the top of mind for a lot of people. I know a lot of people in the finishing and fabricating and semiconductor. I'm seeing a lot more saying they're in the semiconductor industry. Where do you see this heading in the near term? What other trends that you see happening with that? If you had any insight on that.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, a lot of it's going to depend on the pace of innovation with regards to EVs, AI. Some basic trends we know for sure is demand of consumer electronics, whether that be a tablet or a phone. That's going to increase, right? The need for computers. Some other trends that we're seeing, things are becoming smaller and smaller, meaning, the pressure for chips to be smaller and more powerful. That's a big thing happening in the industry. But just more broadly speaking, what we see is, big investment in domestic manufacturing, especially in upstate New York. There's some, large R&D investments being made, funded by the government that are making upstate New York, they're talking about as the new semiconductor highway. So, we want to be positioned and be part of that growth.
You talk about the growth of things and growth of companies. How do you all scale up what you're doing with a particular customer? You have to kind of adapt to how they're growing and their needs and such things like that. How do you all adjust to that? What kind of feedback do you get from those type of customers?
It means working really, really close with your customers, making sure that their goals match your goals. For a lot of these customers, we have weekly touch points where we talk about demand variances, forecast. What projects are they going to work on in 2 or 3 months? What are some of their upcoming projects for the next quarter? It's about keeping pace. As far as the feedback we've gotten, it's been really positive, and the indicator of that would be that customers are wanting to partner with us on more and more opportunities. So that's an indicator. Some specific feedback. I had a customer on Thursday that said that every product serviced by Hubbard-Hall is one less headache for them to manage. So that felt really good. And then another customer recently said that Hubbard-Hall is not just a supplier for us. You are an asset to achieve our growth targets, and that for us really hits home, because our intention is to help these customers grow.
there's a lot of options out there, but they could choose from. Which
Right.
leads me to ask. I mean, when somebody asks you, what differentiates Hubbard-Hall from other distributors in their space, what are some reasons you give them?
Typically in the chemical distribution industry, you have suppliers or distributors that are essentially selling from a catalog, and what that means is, as they engage with a customer, they provide pricing, lead times, a line card of items, and then let us know what you need. What we do is different in the sense that we provide very essentially, we know that every business has unique needs, and so we provide specialized, tailored solutions custom for them to meet their individual needs. That could be, something as basic as distributing some of these semiconductor grade products from, premier suppliers such as Fujifilm. It could mean providing warehousing services of the raw materials that they use. It also could be something like a vendor managed inventory, and that's providing like a hands-free total chemical management of everything that they buy. So, we'll deploy, each tool depending on the needs of the business. And that seems to really provide a lot of value for customers.
You mentioned something earlier, got some feedback from customers. Can you share with us an example of when, Hubbard-Hall really particularly solved a problem for a customer that maybe a competitor couldn't address or couldn't solve for them? Do you have any examples you can kind of share with us?
Yeah, I could think of one. We had a customer who had a location where they were buying about, say, 30 to 40 different products from multiple suppliers, say 12 to 14 different suppliers. And what that means is that the customer has to create individual purchase orders for what they need. They need to carry 30 to 40 days worth of inventory of each product. They have, multiple invoices, multiple deliveries happening each week from all these different suppliers. All the planning end of it, they were managing themselves. It's creating a lot of headaches, a lot of bottlenecks, a lot of excess inventory. And so what we deployed is a vendor managed inventory for them, what I mentioned earlier. And so this means that we take full control of their supply chain, and we manage all of the inventory levels. We deliver to them once per week with everything that they need for that week. And we carry all of that inventory so that they don't have to. That means their spaces now can be used for their core competencies. That means that there's a drastic number in the number of purchase orders, number of invoices, the number of deliveries. So there's a lot of operational gains that they experience now with everything being consolidated and managed by us.
Well, great. Well, Rob, I appreciate it. Appreciate you taking time out and explaining that to us. And definitely we'll hopefully talk to you down the road soon.
My pleasure. It was great speaking with you.
Thanks for listening to Seen and Solved by Hubbard-Hall. For more episodes, visit hubbardhall.com or wherever you get your podcasts. Be sure to like and subscribe, rate and review, and join us on social media. Produced by Awcast.